Hi class, this is the next video in working through Module 4 of Excel textbook project. We're starting with section 3, and we're going to be using a data table to help us analyze our worksheet data. So in the previous section, section 2, after we left off from the video, there was some information in your text about changing the data input values so that you could see impact that had on the results of the formula. So you could do that repeatedly, change your input data and write the results down. That would be kind of monotonous. So instead we can create a data table. And a data table is just a range of cells, and it shows answers generated by formulas. So we're looking at formulas where different values have been substituted. We have to create our data table in an empty area of our worksheet, and this is what our data table is going to look like here. We're going to see a bunch of different rate amounts. So let's see if we can set that up. First we'll organize everything. Let's enter in our data table title. So we want to select range C10. Here's C10 or C9, I'm sorry, through F10. And let's adjust the height of those rows. But anyways, we know we have to select the whole thing to adjust them both. We'll see. That's what we want. We'll fix it. Now let's select cell C9, and we want to type in our heading, varying interest rate schedule. Now let's select cell C3, and we want to use the format painter to copy that formatting. So I'll select up here, go to my home tool, and click on my format painter, and then I'll select that text to copy that format down. Now let's type rate in cell C10, and in D10 we want monthly payment. Total interest, and finally F10 we want total cost. Let's select those and right align them. Now let's position the pointer on the bottom boundary of row heading 9 and drag up until we get to 20.25. There we go. And then we want to do row 10, and we want it to be 17.25. Come on, there it is. Now let's select cell C12 just to deselect our range. That'll work. Now their little example, things are much wider, so I'm going to select our columns and stretch these out a little bit. Seem to be a little smaller than what they're showing. That looks a little bit closer. So one of those times what we missed. Now I'm going to go ahead and continue on. We want to create a percentage series here using this area to put our first data table. So we want to vary our rate. So we want this data table to have these different percentages to use as input. So let's create this percentage series. First, I want to select cell C12. I want to type 3.0%. And then I want to select cell C13 and type 3.125%. Now I want to select both of those. And I'm going to drag the fill handle down through row 22 so that I can fill all the values in. So using that autofill feature, we were able to select those two rows, 12 and 13, that had our data, use that autofill handle, create this series of percentages. Let's show 3 decimal places on all of them. And let's click somewhere like D11 just to deselect our range. Perfect. Now, the reason that we generated all of these different percentages is that we're going to use each of those as input to our rate value for our payment calculation. And then we'll use this column to show the resulting monthly payment. So instead of just having one monthly payment out here, we'll show the monthly payment for all of those different percentages. So we can do that by entering formulas in our data table. Now, in the textbook, they talk about 4 different ways to enter these formulas that we have in our data table. We could retype the formulas that we have in our D, E, and F cells, copy our formula, or type equal and then a number or cell reference, and that will give us the same formula as cell reference. So let's try that. They want us to use D11. So for D11, I'm going to type equal, and I want this to equal F6. So I could just type F6 here, or I could click on that cell so it knows that that equals the monthly payment. Now in E11, right here, for our total interest, we want this one to use this total interest value that we calculate. So that is in F7. So I'll type equal F7. Puts that data in there for us. Now for our total cost, let's put in our F8 location. And that matches up with our total cost. Now, we have assigned all of these formulas. Let's apply the currency style to those. Click right across here. Make those currency. Now, why are those cells assigned to values that we've already calculated? Well, because we're going to use these as references to the output from our formula. These are going to be the base range. Now, we want to create this series, and our interest rate series we've already created, and we want to say that if you're using this interest rate of 3%, then this column should contain the resulting calculation from the formula that this location in our worksheet contains. It's a cell reference. Now we want Excel to generate all this data, so let's create our data table. We want to select all of this range, and then we want to click Data Table on the What If Analysis menu. I'm going to go to Data, and then in our Data, I want Data Table. What If Analysis, Data Table. Now for our column input cell, let's click cell F4. Now I could use this arrow to go select that cell, or I can just type in F4. Like they want us to click on that. I will do it that way. F4. And it's put it in as $F4. Now with our data table set this way, put this arrow, I'm ready to click OK. And it's formatted everything. Let's apply our currency. See how everything looks. Good. Oops. I'm going to Control C there. I only want the currency items. Now, in our currency format, we want it to be English, but we want it to be a little different. We want to have no currency symbol. And then we want our negative numbers to be this red. Okay. Now we just didn't need all those dollar signs all over the place. It was a little overwhelming, wasn't it? So it's common, again, for us to just have dollar signs across. It contains the money amount. Now, how did everything work out there? It looks pretty great, doesn't it? We're seeing that all of these different amounts are going to apply. So if our interest rate is 3%, our monthly payment, if we borrow this $429,000 minus our $85,000 down payment, our loan amount is $344,000. At a 3% interest rate, our monthly payment is this. As our interest rate goes up, you can see when it goes up, how much our total interest over the lifetime of the loan increases. So this is really valuable data for our customers and for us, especially if we do. Now, some things about data tables. The formulas you're analyzing must include a cell reference to the input cell. So we were able to explain to Excel how all of this was going to work based on using that rate input. Now we could only have one value varying in our one input data table, but we could have a two input data table. There's some videos in that. And you can delete a data table just the same as you would any other sort of data. I'm going to go ahead and click Save. And we'll stop our video there. We'll continue on with the amortization table in our next